Hello, my name is Subhan Mansoor and I'm a Client Success Manager at Enertiv. And today, in this video, I will be talking about how you can overcome unexpected CapEx risks. First, we'll be going over why is it so necessary to begin with to accurately forecast your CapEx investment 10 or 20 years down the lane. And secondly, we'll be seeing how this chart is achieved in the status quo and how it could be achieved using and leveraging technology such as IoT sensors in the entire package. Now, let's first talk about what are the benefits of accurately predicting your CapEx investment. I would like to walk you through an example. So for instance, if you have big CapEx investment in year 3 and year 8. So what if this year 8's CapEx investment is actually reflective of a boiler replacement that you installed 10 years ago and it's about to be overdue for a replacement at year 18? So what if that CapEx investment gets, transported all the way to here, where your boiler is failing prematurely? And it could very well happen. We've seen that across many portfolios. So how can this risk be essentially mitigated and avoided? And what are the benefits of actually accurately predicting this? Well, all the money that you've artificially locked up in the replacement of a chiller or a boiler or any heavy piece of equipment, you could invest it elsewhere and start getting better returns and be much more confident going forward in terms of all the assets that are installed in your real estate portfolio. So how is this achieved as of today in the status quo is that there's an on-site staff, an on-site engineer who is running certain reports that are archaic in their data collection methodology. And the methodology itself is inaccurate because you're not relying on dynamic sensors, you're just relying on an incidental value of certain metrics that are informing a poorly documented raw CapEx that makes its way into the cash flow risk profile that we're seeing over here. Now, once you install IoT sensors and actually start leveraging technology of the 21st century, you see a much more different picture. How? Because now you are able to give a certain quantifiable metric to the health of your piece of equipment. So let's talk about this more with an example to ease the understanding. We'll take a 1,000-ton chiller that costs $200,000 to replace. That's a huge number, and we want to be as accurate as we can in terms of either scheduling out a major repair on this piece of equipment or completely entirely replacing it at the end of its lifetime. Now, in this case, we can actually use these 3 metrics just for this example, for the chiller only, to accurately come together towards a number that quantifies the chiller's health. The first one would be the coefficient of performance. How you can achieve this. Coefficient of performance is more or less like the efficiency of the chiller itself. How much energy does the chiller consume in order to bring about a certain change in temperature of the supply and return chill water temperatures? Now, by just installing a couple of sensors on the supply and the return side of the chiller itself, and also monitoring simultaneously the power draw, you can dynamically come at a coefficient of performance which tells you how efficiently your chiller is running. And as the equipment lifetime goes on, as the equipment grows older, you're going to see that COP coming down. And if you're monitoring that more directly and more dynamically, you're definitely getting a much more accurate picture than you were getting of the same equipment from disparate sources that could be prone to error, as we've discussed in the previous portion of the video. Now, the second one would be the MTBF, the mean time between failure. Now, as the name implies, it's basically telling you and quantifying how long your chiller runs before it essentially requires a major repair. So if this number is squeezing, then you can basically tell that there's something that's wrong with the chiller or with your certain piece of equipment, and that you need to start investing in preventative maintenance in order to ensure that your equipment does not fail prematurely. Not only are you accurately predicting when you're going to invest into this chiller, but you're also prolonging the life based on data-driven preventative maintenance practices. That fits neatly into the third point, which is refrigerant level, that we at Enertiv could potentially pick up by installing power draw sensors on the circuits that allow us to see how fast the chiller is turning on and off. Is it short cycling? Is it turning on and off more than 11 times in a given hour? If yes, then probably you need to go and check your refrigerant levels or set the temperature set points or chill water reset set points at a different level so your chill runs more smoothly. So you're prolonging, in essence, your CapEx investment and thereby not only extracting the time value of money out of it, but also stepping confidently into the future and knowing exactly when your piece of equipment or when your real estate assets that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars are going to require replacement. Now, this is actually how we can step away from a manual process that is prone to inaccuracies and that the world is currently still stuck towards and not utilizing what the 21st century has actually been able to offer to more innovative portfolios that use all of these sensors to mitigate their risk profile and step much more confidently into the future, knowing exactly what their equipment and asset health looks like. If you have more questions on this, we've only talked about the chiller in this example. We could do the same analysis on much more disparate sources of HVAC equipment like boilers, like PTAC units, and the list goes on and on. So if you have more questions regarding those, feel free to contact us. My name is Subhan Mansoor again. Hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something from today's session.